and welcome to Model Kit Stuff, and this is the second of today's first impressions videos, if you're watching them on the day they went out, that is. And in this video we're off to France to a Norman street with Miniart. So this is Miniart Kit 36045 in 1:35 scale, and as we can see on the box instructions, we've got two buildings on a street section, and it looks like we're going to have a lamp as well, so that's good. So this is a 2012 release, and it tells us that we've got, it gives us dimensions, which is interesting. Length of 28.6 centimetres, width of 21.6 centimetres. Tells us it's a Norman street, so therefore it's supposed to look French. Unassembled plastic model. Box contains diorama base with two buildings and street accessories, which I'm guessing is that. It also says we have French posters included, which is interesting. On the ends of the box, it pretty much covers what's on the top of the box, both ends being the same. Then we have the health and safety information, product information, contact details, and so on. And then on this side, we have some nice pictures of the completed and painted model. Sorry about the light there. There we go. Let's have a look inside. So let's start with the instructions, and we have a fold-out, glossy, in colour set of instructions, which is not at all typical for Miniart's diorama series buildings. Usually you get a single page black and white, or maybe a couple of pages stapled together sometimes. But I'm not sure I've actually seen a colour one before, so whether that's a fairly new thing, I don't know. But it has the kit information, a couple of warnings. It tells you to cut out the plastic parts with scissors, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. And then below this, we have a little bit of text that links you to their website for more information on how to deal with vac form parts and how to build these buildings up, which are definitely worth going to have a look at. And then we have a sprue map to start with. So we have Sprue A, which we seem to have one of, and that's their typical doors and windows sprue. Then we've got two Sprue Bs. So that's another windows sprue. I've not seen that one before, so I'll be interested to look at that. And then Sprue C is lamppost and guttering. Now the guttering is the same style as their other standalone guttering sprue, but again, I've not had the one with the lamppost before, so these are new ones for me, so I'll be interested to see what they look like. Then as we open up, we start with step one, and we're building up the windows. So these have a semicircular top, so 4 parts to make up them, basically a frame and a window. So you can, if you want, make a little latch, prop the windows open without a latch, whatever you're going to do. There isn't any acetate or anything like that in the kit, or usually there isn't, so I'm assuming there isn't. So if you want to glaze it, that's something you have to provide the materials for yourself. Then we're making up these double swing out windows. Then we've got some smaller windows going into place. Their standard front door, all their front doors look the same. Then we've got, that looks like a vac form shutter to me. We will have to look at the parts, but that looks like it's a vac form shutter, the way the two parts are meeting together like that. That would suggest that's what that is. Then we've got, is that a different type of door? Yeah, it looks like they're putting two parts together to build a different type of door. So me saying that you only ever got one type of door, we've now got a second type when they've put two buildings together. So that's interesting. Then we're doing sidewall pieces, front and back pieces, floors and ceilings, which come together. Those 4 parts going together look like they're making up the street lamp to me. Yep, you can see step 13. So we're putting that together with the other plastic parts to make up the street lamp. That should look quite nice, actually. Looks like the top of that forms the bulb. So yeah, interesting. Then we're making more sidewall pieces, the front and back of this next building. Right, okay, and then we're taking what we've built up earlier and putting it together with the various pieces and then putting a roof on it. The roof is undamaged, I'm pleased to say, because again, I want to use this in a diorama where buildings aren't damaged. So here we'll have to fill in the damage to the plaster and stuff, or might leave some of it just for effect. But it's basically replicating what we've done there. Putting the sections together. It'll all glue together with liquid glue without any issues. Then we are putting the buildings on the diorama base. You can see they're stepped back and the diorama base is angled, so it gives it a little bit of interest. Large building, then small building. You can also see that there's floor texturing there, so wood planks, tiles, and yeah, so there's a big shutter across that, but you could take that out if you wanted to put a shop front window in or something like that. You've got two options. There is a cafe set that they do, a French cafe set. There's no reason why you couldn't buy that and put a table out there and a table on the inside. Anyway, that's everything done. And at the bottom here we have posters and signs. So we've got two options, one of them being a cafe, and then we've got what replicates steel posters. We've got some street signs, and even a number for one of the buildings, all typically French, which looks quite nice. So they can just be glued on with white glue to make your posters and signs. I think that's a nice little addition, actually. And obviously you've got some that you could use in other things. So I want this to actually be a German street, but I might go with Cafe Splendid and put one of the French signs up, because I'm guessing France sold stuff into Germany before the war, so we can do that. So our first parts out of the box is the main cafe front, shop front, and we've got the front and the two outside side pieces by the looks. So that might be the inner one, actually. Not 100% sure on that. So as always with Miniart vac formed, you've got all these little lumps. You can see there that you're going to have to remove all those lumps. We've got a nice tiled roof section, but there is a lump pretty much on every single ridge. So a bit of sanding to be done. Some wood strips for edging the roof. We've got a little floor section, and as I suspected, our shutters here that go in there are vac formed as well. And I've not seen this before. They're usually quite well spaced out, these parts, but if you can see there's these little sort of triangular lumps, so you've got to show it that way. I don't know if that shows you better. No, you're going to have to cut these out as triangular shapes, so that the two parts marry together. Now, I don't usually do it that way, but because of how they've designed the plate, the tooling that makes this, then you're going to have to cut along that edge and that edge, which means both of these will be an open edge. So yeah, not sure I'm dead happy about that, but having not used it, I don't know how successful that will be. I like the detail. It's nice to see a different shaped window. We've got the little wooden sign bit there, which you can paint up and look quite good. There is a little bit of clean up needed. And you've got got some brickwork showing and some damage, which would be easy to repair if you didn't want to show it, which is my plan. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. All looks okay. This one out deals with the smaller building next door, and that's got a lot more damage to it. We've got a side profile and a front profile, both of them exterior again. So if you're wanting to restore this to undamaged, there's more work to be done, but it's easy to do. We're just filling it, sanding it flat. You would get occasional building damage and stuff that's waiting for surface repairs, so you don't have to clean them all up. But if you're looking for something that's a bit more damaged and worn after 4 or 5 years of war, then that looks quite good already, doesn't it? You can, if you want, use a textured paint if you want to improve the texturing of the plaster that they show here, but they have got texturing on the stonework and bits and pieces. And by the time you put windows in and painted it up, I think that will look really quite good. So the next one out has a couple of internal side pieces, but the main thing on here is our diorama base, which has got 3 different cobble sections, but actually no curb, so there's no drop down for the curb. This is all totally flat. Now in other diorama kits that I've got from them, there is definitely a curb down, so this is done in purpose. It's been done on purpose. It's not something that they've just not bothered to do, because they do it in other kits. If you wanted to put tables and chairs out, then this is ideal for that sort of social space where because you've got the flat, you could put the French tables and chairs and bits and pieces out, and that could look really quite nice. Now, I'm going to do a German street, and they did do that in Germany, so Miniart do a French set of tables. There's no reason why they couldn't be German tables, so that might be something I do possibly. Or I might not use this at all, because when I come to put my diorama together, this might not work. So we will have to see. But what we can see is we've got the markings out for the building. We've got floor sections, tiles and wood, which we saw in the instructions. We've got a little sort of footpath bit there marked off. Then what I would describe as a pavement section marked off, and then the cobble street. So you could, for example, put little bollards along or something to mark the street off. You know, there's all sorts of things you could do. Put your street lamp in somewhere, or maybe one of those little round things that has posters on. There's lots you could do, and you've got plenty of space here for a vehicle, two cars, or a truck, or even a tank, whatever you're going to do. Loads of space. It deals with the internal spaces of the smaller building and the floor sections, which you may or may not see depending on how you go around modelling it. We've got some more wood battens for edging the roof, and the roof section has a different style of tile to the other one, which I like. It's a nice little contrast. Lots and lots of little bobbles to clean up though. And the standard approach from Miniart is internal walls are fairly flat, plastered, rendered walls, but you can buy now 1/35 scale wallpaper and things like that, so you could really go to town with this if you wanted. And our last fat form piece has the internal parts, side wall and front wall for the main cafe building. We've got some more floor sections and the other part of the window shutters to go in there. So yeah, the detail is all nice. The flooring is nice. You get some wood grain and stuff. You paint that and give it a wash, it'll look really, really good. And you could, make up a paper rug or something to go on it. You could really go to town with these things if you want to see through the windows. Exactly how my diorama is going to play out, I don't know, but we will be talking about it soon. So let's start with our standard doors and windows sprue from Miniart. This is the one that they put in most kits. If you're buying a single building, it's usually this that you get. So you get their standard front door. As we know, not the only one they do, but it is their most usual front door. You get some shutters, you get some iron railing fencing, which doesn't often get used really, and various different sizes of windows and window frames, door frame and handles. And as you can see, because it gets used a lot, the tool's a bit worn and it can be a bit flashy. But the fit of everything once cleaned up is really superb. And you can do things like cut those out and change the windows and so on. And when you look inside, they're all slightly recessed, so it's easy to put some acetate on the flat back and still have painted that and make it look good. So there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you spend a bit of time cleaning it. Our next sprue is more windows and doors, and we have two of these, and that's because in the instructions we're using two of these sections put together to make a door, whereas I can see on the other side we've got a sort of a part glass option. So if you were doing a shop front, that could look quite good. So actually we've got three doors now that I'm aware of from Miniart, so that's quite interesting. It gives us our little half moon shaped window and the window frame for it, which is all nice and crisp. We've got some more windows at the bottom there, and door frames sections here and here. Yeah, it all looks quite good. I'm not quite sure what that is. Might be a divider for the door, but these are fairly typical style doors in Spain and Italy, and I'm guessing in France as well. But yeah, quite thick actually, thicker than the other door. But yeah, they're yeah, that adds a lot of interest, having something a little bit different. However, lots of cleanup on those, some heavy seam, bits of flash, and the plus side is you'll have some parts left over to go in your bits and pieces stash for other dioramas. So if you need broken doors, windows and so on, you've always got them. And our last parts and last sprue are gutters and lampposts. Now, interestingly, I think when you usually get your gutters, it's this sprue with this bit cut off, because we can see how bits have been cut off this sprue, and that sprue layout looks exactly the same as you normally get, including all the flash on the inlet and outlet pipes is all exactly as it is. So I think when you get your guttering in other packs, it's usually just that you get in. I think this is just the standard thing. So there's no difference there in the guttering to what you'd normally get. And my comment would be careful when you clean it up, because it's these little tabs that stick out at both sides. You cut one off depending on which way round you're having your downpipe, left or right of the building. And you also need to make a blank for your gutter unless it's running onto another building or running off the diorama. So that all looks really nice when it's done. It's their standard offering. Then we've got the lamp. So interestingly, there's some little recesses, you can just about see them, so that you can cut some acetate to do some glazing in there. And we've got the little mount there that needs cleaning up, a bit flashy. Top and the bottom of the lamp box, and then we've got a solid stand there for the lamppost, and then a lamppost base. We appear to have two uprights for the street lamp, which is interesting. Obviously there must be a different option in different kits that this feeds into, so I'm not quite sure. But and it would also appear that we've got a bracket option, so maybe we can put a bracket on the building and dangle the lamp and have the lamp as a hanging lamp, maybe. Don't know. could have a mess around with that and see, but there's a few options in there. I like it. Nothing wrong with that, just needs a bit of clean up, that's all. So there we have it, the Miniart Norman Street from their Diorama series in 1:35 scale. As you can see, 2 buildings, a street and a street lamp. What are my first impressions? Well, I think this is actually an improvement slightly on other ones that I've got, other sets that I've got. The instructions are definitely improved. They're clearer for a start on that more glossy printed fold-out page. And it was nice to see them in colour. Not that it makes a lot of difference, in fairness, because the actual instructions, the bit that matters is all black and white. But they were certainly a clearer print than we've seen previously. It's nice to have the street section. It's basically build it up, you're ready to go. The only thing I'd say is you will need to strengthen the base, so some foam board or maybe some balsa board or something like that in there, just to give you a little bit of strength, because it will flex if you put a relatively heavy vehicle, a tank or something on there. You might get some flex in there, so you do need to strengthen it up. And you've got some space there to play around and make that look different, like I've suggested, some street furniture and bits and pieces that you could put on. So yeah, I think it looks really quite nice. You could even put the little metal railings up against there and put a little gate in and make it do something fancy with it. So there's all sorts of things you could do. Anyway, I hope that was interesting. Gives you an insight into what's in there. If you're interested in these kits, what I'll say is they're not difficult to build up, and you can get them built up and ready for paint very, very quickly. It's an afternoon's work to build that up and clean it up. It's mainly just cutting it out and sanding it smooth, and the rest of it is just glued together really quickly. So they're really, really nice, and I think they're good value for money because they add so much to a display. Okay, hope that was useful, helpful. You enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon.